Hey guys, and welcome to today's episode of Candidly CREW. I'm your host, Chesley White.
And I'm Mareena Register. Chesley, you went on vacation, didn't you? I haven't seen you, and I feel like
I know,
forever.
It's been forever. We went to Florida, to Treasure Island, Florida. Steven's family has a timeshare there. They've been going there for the past 30 years,
Nice.
at least, I feel like. So we went down, and Hudson got to experience the beach for the first time. It was awesome. He basically sat in front of us on the sand, and he had this little pail, and he would say, "More water." And so we would have to walk to the beach and get water and then bring it back up, and then he would immediately dump it and then say, "More water."
That sounds right. That sounds like a really fun beach day. It's
Yeah.
just chugging back.
So back and forth. And so after about the third time of that, it was just like, you're going to have to wait 5 minutes. Just play with what you got. But it was awesome. It was so cool to see him play in the sand and the water. And he has no fear of the water. So that was awesome.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I still have a little fear. I love the ocean, but sharks are there.
Sharks
The
are
amount
real.
The amount of videos I've watched where it's like a drone up above and you can see people playing and then there's just like the shark shape. Stresses me right out.
That's right. Same here, 100%.
Okay, so I actually have a quote that I want to share with you really bad.
Okay.
It's maybe the funniest thing I've ever seen. Anyways, I'm building up too much. My friend sent me this, and she said, this is from a job application someone sent in the 80s. Okay. And the first sentence of it just said, "I feel that my major strength is being a male." Full stop.
Okay.
And I want to start doing that. I'm just saying, like, my major strength is not something that I've accomplished. It's not something that I do. It's literally...
It's just who I am.
When I was born, I was this. So,
okay.
I'll start putting it down.
Noted.
My major strength is that I'm a female.
Yeah. Just by who I am.
I can't stop looking at it. It's just so funny. I just can't believe that someone was like...
It is what it is.
I am a male, and that's greatest strength.
Yeah. Interesting.
There it is.
All right.
Well, should we talk about
Quote for the
Tanya
day.
really quick?
That's right. Yeah. So, we were here. Our guest today is Tanya Jones with Bonitz. She's director of sales for them. I enjoyed this episode a lot. I feel like it really got to the root of who she is as an individual, and she talked a lot about being authentic and developing relationships, and that is kind of her main role of her job. What do you think?
Yeah, I really like how she focused on the people aspect of our industry, which I think there's so many other things going on, but at the heart of every real estate deal is the fact that people will be using this building or people want to buy this building. So she talked a lot about the fact that relationships have to be first, and even as the director of sales, like relationship first, the sales come after that. And I think that's a really important distinction because so often, like, I know that in my business, I'm supposed to be selling. Like, I do my work, I do my audits, but I'm also supposed to get new
that's what
clients.
you're measured on. Yeah.
Right. And so to think through, like, I know how to build relationships. But if you were to say, like, do you know how to sell? I'd be like, well, but I think putting that perspective on it helps me feel like I'm giving something back. There's this idea of a relationship rather than just here, take what I'm offering.
Right. I think that's so important, and it's so important to be different. I think that really makes the difference in how that relationship and ultimately that sale is made.
Yeah. So I think really just focusing on people is clearly what Tanya's, interested in, and it really comes through in the interview.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we hope you guys enjoy it, and let's bring her in. All right. Well, Tanya, welcome to the podcast. How you doing today?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, we're so excited to talk with you today. So.
Yes. Me especially, because we work together in the same industry for a while now. So it'll be cool to hear your background and get some more information.
Give a little more story.
That's right.
Storytelling.
We love story.
Yes,
that's our whole thing, actually, is storytelling.
Yes. So let's start from the beginning. How did you get into the commercial real estate industry?
Oh, my goodness. Well, how I got involved in CREW, or how did I just get involved in the industry?
Let's do the industry first.
Industry. Well, my path sort of led me through my background in design, and then I have a background in manufacturing, and then I'm working for a company that's service-related in the contracting segment, which obviously is a part of the deal when you're putting together a package for corporate real estate and getting better connected with decision makers and influencers was definitely part of my motivation just to deepen my reach in my market. Primarily my previous position, I flew half the country, so I needed to get a little more grounded.
goodness.
And although I had relationships, I needed to expand that relationship. Currently in my current position.
So what did you do right before Bonitz?
So before Bonitz, I was a manufacturer's rep and for a commercial flooring manufacturer that was based in California, for 17 years. And the last 5 of those years, I spent in an airplane traveling half the country from Dallas to Cincinnati to Miami to DC.
It's tough.
Yeah, it was wide coverage, but experience I'll never regret. It was a great opportunity, but what's been extremely rewarding about this role at working in Greenville is I've lived here for 25 years. Although I'm not from here, I'm a transplant, but I consider myself,
You feel
South
true
Carolinian
Greenville
now.
now,
Yeah. Just digging deeper into my backyard and being able to enjoy all the restaurants, just not some of them, and just developing more connections in the business world and especially in the business that we're in. And it's all about constructing new spaces and buildings, and CREW has certainly been a big help in that getting more involved.
Yeah.
For sure. So your title is Director of Sales. I'm sure you do many other things as well. What does your day-to-day task, role, et cetera, look like within Bonitz?
Well, when I first joined Bonitz, and they were actually a customer of mine, so it was a real easy interview process because I was very well entrenched in the business, having them as a customer of mine because they distributed and installed a lot of the products that I represented. So coming on into Bonitz, I came in as a project design and product specialist. So my initial connection was developing that relationship with the A&D to kind of shorten that language barrier that happens from the A&D community to the contractor, and troubleshooting technical and or product solutions. And pretty much my whole career, even as a design professional, was always problem solving. So that's what I've kind of figured out after 30 years, that I love to problem solve. So, day in and day out, I'm always problem solving. So it can come in many shapes and forms. It could be someone that's never been introduced to Bonitz and understanding all the lines of business or of services that we provide, anyway from flooring to ceiling to drywall to acoustics to exterior cladding and so forth. So my job description covers both the contracting side and the flooring side as well, but not limited to, because we do other things with access flooring and all the other sections, all the other divisions in construction that you can possibly find in the built environment.
So before you were the manufacturing rep and before this director of sales, sounds like you have obviously a background in design. So can you tell, was that a college thing?
Yes.
Did you get into that in college?
So I have a degree in interior design.
You have a degree?
Yes. I went to accredited college at the University of Kentucky. I actually married an architect, and so we moved to the South, and I worked as in facilities planning. But I've always worked in the healthcare arena up until when we relocated and moved to Greenville. I crossed the road after 10 years practicing professionally and found myself working for a manufacturer and representing a product. So I covered the state of South Carolina and Western North Carolina for several years until I progressed and somehow ended up in management.
Which is exciting.
Which was a whole nother, venue of your career and leadership. So great experience. And then, just grounding myself more now. I'm working on the service side. I'm able to utilize the design background and the sales side and now the service side. So I've got all kinds of vantage points. So depending on what customer I'm talking to, I can kind of wear multiple hats for sure.
Yeah,
So,
that's great. What so when you made that transition out of design to manufacturing, what were you thinking? What was your motivation for why do you want to make the change?
Well, the biggest reason was I felt myself wanting something a little more entrepreneurial. Like I felt the desire to have a business or run a business. And when I moved to Greenville, I didn't know a lot of people, and it was a risky venture to start my own business in design. And I think that at that time, well over 20-something years ago, the interior design profession was still in its infancy here. And the options, it's just like that door just opened into manufacturing sales. And I had a good friend that was on the other side that moved into management that, truth be told, he really recruited me and felt that I would do really, very well. And I never looked back because it just really, I'm a very driven person. And so there was always, every day was something different and was problem solving for the very people that, after being on the board side, I knew exactly how to help people get where they were going.
Right.
So
Yeah, you
it was
had a
really
competitive
rewarding.
advantage almost.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Super nice.
So, but it's exciting, and that really helps my relationship development because I come towards my business more in a consultative way rather than in a selling way. The sale takes care of itself. If you're on the front end of just being more consultative.
Gotcha. I really like that. Just building the relationship more than the sale, I think, is an important perspective. So tell us, what is the most challenging part of your job? And then at the same time, what's the most rewarding?
Oh, gosh, the most challenging. Well, in my previous position, I was totally in control of everything. In this role, there's many people that are part of a team, and so you can't always be in control. I must be a control freak. Did I just admit that?
No,
I can't
we
be
didn't
in
hear it. We didn't hear
control
it.
of the whole process. That's probably safer because there's many people, and it takes a village to do this. So that's the beauty at working at Bonitz. So we have estimators, we have project specialists that help with the administrative side. We have project consultants which do all of the pricing formulas and do the pricing direct with the end users and general contractors and even design firms. We do both for that. And we have project managers that manage the jobs in the field, and the list just keeps going on and on. So that's the beauty of it, that a customer gets a lot of people involved to take care of the finished product. So I wouldn't necessarily call that frustrating, but you don't always get to control all the details of that and how it's going on. But the reward is really at the end is solving people's problems, and they get so excited when you have the answer and the solution. And you may not have it right away, or even conversely, if there is a problem. I mean, you can address it. You may not have the answer right there in them, but you figure out alternative ways to proceed, which is, we take great pride in that, and to figuring out how to address anything that may come up. And in construction, always something comes up.
Right.
So,
I mean, really, when you think about problem solving, it's that everyone comes to you to bring their problems because
Yes.
they're like, oh, you're going to solve this? And so your
Yes.
inbox is just problems.
yeah, and I love being needed like that.
She's
Say,
a
Tanya,
control
I
freak.
know.
She wants to be needed.
I love this. Yeah, it's because it's true. We all feel that way to some extent.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
They reach out to me. I'm not sure you're the right person, but I know you can help me find this person. So,
That's right.
That's a really great pivotal spot to be in, though, to know that people trust that you're going to get them to the right spot.
Yes.
No matter what happens.
Yes, and that for me is really rewarding, is that relationship, and it runs deep for me. It's very personal, and I try to honor that in every way. And like I said, and very luckily, there's very few times that I have to go in and apologize, because we really try to stay in front of situations and be honest and on how to approach certain things. So it's just really caring, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Which, I mean, that's a difficult thing to do, too. I feel like I know that I struggled coming into professional, like when I was like a baby out of college, trying to figure out like what does my business persona look like, and realizing more and more like, oh, my business persona should just be me. Like how I show up to work every day should be how I show up with my friends or my people. Like there's an air of professionalism, but the caring has to be from you. It has to be your own personality that you're working
It
with.
is, and it's part of our core value. I mean, urgency is essential. 9 times out of 10, there's no level of procrastination. I have
Especially right now.
Yeah, especially right now. I mean, there's always that a level of you have to balance, prioritize, but you have to be able to pivot very quickly and juggle and prioritize the day and be able to delegate. But I must enjoy it because I keep doing it.
You keep doing it.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I can personally vouch for her caring about her designers and things like that, because we'll come to her and say, well, I kind of want like this aesthetic, like, and we kind of want this type of product here. And she's like, okay, here are your options. And they have this whole beautiful big library that we can use and we don't have to have in our office. And it's a great resource for us. And she's like unbiased towards, the manufacturers. It's more like, here are, all of your options. And based on what we're describing, what we're looking for, you can point us in the right direction. So
yeah, and it's not always aesthetically driven, even though that's the real fun part. I mean, I see a lot of products every day, and that's the beauty of being passionate about the design industry, is you get to see how products are developed and the inspiration behind that. But even more so, I'm able to connect the difficult part of, like, is this functional? Will this perform? Think about things that they may not necessarily be aware of, but that I deal with every day. And certainly if there's even deeper technical things, I have specialist people that I can rely on that can be a part of the conversation. So, and I love it because it totally separates us from our competition and the value that we bring.
It's Tanya Jones.
And so Bonitz, they give me that opportunity for sure.
yeah, that's awesome. So thinking about your career trajectory over, the past however many years, do you feel like it's been a steady climb, or have there been times where you've had to take maybe like a lateral shift in what you were doing at the time, but then that maybe got you to where you wanted to be quicker? How do you feel about how your career growth has been?
Oh, well, I don't know that it's interesting because when I got out of school, it was during it in the late 80s. It was definitely a recession, and you're being fortunate to have a job, and it's just that generation. You get in that gerbil wheel and you go and you dig in, and there's a lot of gratitude around that first opportunity. For me, more or less, every life gets in the way, and sometimes you have to make a change, like getting married and relocating, and somebody has to make a decision on whose career is more important, and definitely some of that may happen, but for the most part, it's been a very natural progression, and opportunities for me have opened up based on my reputation and my interactions with people. So it's just been this natural fruition, which I'm very grateful for, because I've never had to just overly think, and it just really opened, doors just sort of opened. It was a very natural progression for me. And I'm a very loyal person too, just from the part of, I'm in the people business, and so a lot of what I do is a high level of commitment, not only for my employer, but for my customers too. And that's how I build my reputation. For me, I feel like that carries me. It has carried me far. I've never lived with any regrets with that, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So sidebar question, how often do you and Clay talk about design at night and being an architect?
God. Yeah, being an architect. Well, let me just tell you.
That's a great question.
The subject has come up a lot lately on our own personal home, for sure.
Really? Yeah.
After 25 years in the house, we're ready to do, redo the kitchen and various little projects. There used to be a day where he felt like he could do it all, but it's time to hire somebody now. So.
Yeah.
No more DIY.
Yeah. In the early days, and I think that's what connected us in college, was just, a lot of the art museums, and just having that level of appreciation. Or we'll be on a family trip somewhere, and we'll both identify very easily with the building and or materials, and I certainly know more about materials.
As you should.
I can name manufacturers as we walk through a space.
That's so
and
funny.
I think that's so amazing. Yeah.
That's so funny. It's like my dad used to be an aircraft mechanic, and the amount of times we'd just be standing outside and he'd be like, I see the engine on that plane up there is a this and this and this, and so that means it's this and this and this kind of plane. And that just felt shocking to like us as children that he could look up in the sky and like talk about what kind of airplane. So I'm sure
It's the same.
it would amaze
It's
me the same way.
Yeah.
for our industry,
you.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very visual people and connect with beauty and appreciate it for sure.
Yeah. When Steven and I first started dating, him being in construction, we talked about architecture and construction all the time. And then I think we maybe talked about it too much. And then so there was a period of years where we just didn't really talk about work at home anymore. But now it's cool because we're kind of coming back around to that, but sharing our perspectives from different angles, him from a GC perspective and me from an architect. And so it's been enlightening to kind of hear a different perspective. And so I can work with contractors better because of that. So I don't know. It's just interesting when your spouse is in the same,
In the same
industry.
business, yeah.
So should I be rethinking my no dating account?
I don't know. It depends on what you want, I guess.
We'll see. Well, tell us if you've ever had a mentor and what you learned from them.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I've had lots of mentors, but one in particular that sticks out was a counterpart of mine, and she lives in New York, and she's very seasoned, probably 10 years older than me, and I recommend everybody have a mentor, for sure. It really, I found myself in a elevated role very quickly, and for me, I'm a very strategic thinker, so I have to gather a ton of information before I execute on things because I want validity behind what I do. So being able to bounce off of somebody who's already been doing something for a period of time and being able to execute, and then before too long, I found that there were things that I excelled in that my mentor was very curious about. So I felt like I was bringing value to that relationship ultimately too.
Yeah,
But
that's great.
I'll always be grateful for her mentorship at that time and during my career for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead.
so switching gears and talking about everything that's going on right now with COVID, how have you seen resiliency playing out in our industry during this time? I mean, it's I know that's a big shift.
Big topic,
yeah. But how has it been for you guys, and what are you seeing, or how are you seeing people deal with it?
Well, for sure today we know more about what we're dealing with. So people have adjusted in our industry very well to it. I mean, there's still a lot of adjusting going on. But for us, being an essential business, because we work inside hospitals every day and we work, in higher education, I mean, there's a lot of businesses that it still has to go on. So, for us, we've been working since day one, and certainly under a lot of different restrictions, depending on what building we're entering or if we have meetings within our own offices. But, there's a lot more of an understanding of what we're dealing with, and we can practice safely meeting and having meetings with, small groups of people that can still come into the office and masked and just taking all the precautions necessary. So, but we have to get on with business too, right? So, but we want it to do in a safe fashion and do what's comfortable for people. So, especially our customer base, largely like architects and designers who need materials, can use our full library, who may not always have access to those manufacturers reps who we support too, that come into their offices. So being able to come into our office and have full access to our deep, and expansive library is a huge benefit for someone from a team to come in at their leisure and take advantage of that space. But that's always been there. That was there before COVID, and now, even after, it's become even more accessible, for sure. That's just one small example.
Yeah, and you've talked about how relationships are so important to how you do your job. Did you find that it was different during COVID? How did you shift that relationship building when maybe you can't have as many in-person meetings, or did that not affect you really?
Well, I'm really old school. I like to pick up the phone anyway. Electronic is good, with emails and stuff, but I still want to be able to communicate with somebody. You always get a lot more information, and there's tone that can be acknowledged, and even if it's just on a personal level. So for me, just taking that, I've always done that, but I always encourage people around me in sales to always, pick up that phone, and meeting in person today, and whoever is comfortable with that. You just kind of have to manage that on an individual basis for sure.
Yeah. So thinking ahead, what's next for you? What does the next 5 to 10 years look like?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I've got so much to accomplish right now.
I know it feels like we won't get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it a workaholic. What do I want to call it? I enjoy
Work
working.
enthusiast.
Yes, a work enthusiast. I love to work. I can't even imagine. So, I have a lot to accomplish at Bonitz. This role that I'm in now, I just moved into 2 years ago. So really, you take COVID was a little bit of a, and the business is evolving too, and I'm really excited about the direction it's going. We have 16 offices throughout the Southeast, so there's so much opportunity, even under one roof. So even if I'm not in this role, there's probably some other roles that if I don't create it, there might be one, that puts me in another capacity. I feel like I bring a lot of knowledge to the table with my years of experience, and the fact that I'm working in Greenville, South Carolina, and understanding, the whole web of business. I continue to, I could still have a good career ahead of me.
I like that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, what's the best advice you've ever received?
oh my goodness.
Anywhere, in any, it could be business related, could be personal.
Yeah, won't put me on the spot because I always feel like it has to be profound. The best advice, authenticity, probably. If I could just sum it up into one word, and just work with intention within your own personal life and in business. So I think it's a huge formula.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give for someone looking to do what you're doing today or to get into the industry that you're working in?
Oh, well, certainly, as we recruit people, we're always looking for people. We don't wait for a position to open at Bonitz. And if the talent and the drive and the character, we look for people that are a good cultural fit. And it's certainly a benefit if you have a background in construction or even design and architecture. Not that, everybody goes completely 100% that path. There are so many opportunities in the built environment. So we have, people that are very, areas of need for project management and estimating. I mean, the list is long, and with opportunities available within our own company.
So what do they need to do to get there?
Oh, they just need to call me. Call me directly.
You can find her contact information at the end of the,
We have
the
several
podcast.
positions actually we're looking for. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit real quick about how you got into CREW, because obviously, right now you're on the board of directors as the head of sponsorship, and you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank
So, how did
you.
you get into CREW? Well, how has CREW helped you in your career?
Gosh, I'm trying to remember now. It seems like so long ago, and this has gone into my third year. This is a good question. Chesley, you might even have had something
I'm trying to
do
remember
with
because
it.
what
I did.
what I do remember is that Kimberly, for some reason, thought your name was Tanya when she first presented you to the board as a member, and we're like, I'm pretty sure it's just Tanya.
Yeah, it is. It's the long A. I have to give Kimberly a listen.
Yeah,
on
well, I
her
have a hard
vowels.
time because my sister-in-law is Tanya.
Okay, I think that might have been it. It was like she'd
Yeah.
heard it from someone else, and so I do remember us talking about you coming on as a member and how excited we were to have you as a member.
Well, I just know whenever you make a decision to become a member of an organization, I mean, what you put in is what you get out. So,
I believe that so strongly. Thank you for saying that.
And so I just started attending every single meeting. I think my face just started popping up routinely.
Yes.
But I truly intentionally, the CREW chats were so informative. I mean, it's actually a benefit because you're in a smaller group and depending who shows up that day, there's a real opportunity to talk to somebody before and after, and it makes for good dialogue too.
Yeah.
Discussions during the crew chats. And I love professional development. I'm always podcasting, listening to various forms on sales and leadership. I just think you should. Actually, I had this conversation with my son, taking him to college and moving him in, about how you will never stop being a constant student for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And you appreciate it the older you get. Like, you don't realize that when you're 18 years old, but.
Well, I can tell you, when I was doing accounting homework, I wasn't like, can't wait to do this.
So I don't know. I find it very fulfilling how to help other people be the best version of themselves. And I'm constantly even evaluating myself, like, how can I do things a little differently? And CREW offered me an opportunity to get more into the business lane, because I've been so heavily involved in my industry lane, which is very design and architecturally driven. And there's some great organizations with that, but I also wanted the bit more business application as well. So the topics, and also the hard hat tours. I mean, just seeing things in Greenville that you wouldn't necessarily go, have the opportunity to visit some of these sites. I mean, we've done a courthouse tour. We did the inland port. Like, to actually physically be there and understand how that business operates has been quite rewarding.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely helps my perspective of what does Greenville and the Upstate look like.
That's
and
right.
What is real estate there. So.
Yeah, and being on the sponsorship committee, you get to talk to people in every different aspect of commercial real estate too, and understand what's going on with them. And I'm sure that only helps you from a business perspective.
Oh, no, totally. And you know what, too? I mean, we predominantly are women. We have men in our organization as well, but I love seeing women. There are so many women in leadership in this town, and it's very rewarding to be around strong women and smart women that are making business decisions every day and being part of that package. Been quite rewarding professionally.
Agreed.
For sure.
All right, are you ready for some rapid fire questions?
Yeah. Let's do it. Are you ready?
All right, I'm ready.
Number 1, what do you like to do for fun?
Oh, that could be a lot of different things, but hiking, getting in the great outdoors, some Pilates and yoga. I'm in that part of my life right now.
That sounds nice. Sounds relaxing.
I don't come back to cycle.
Cycle bar.
Yes.
Where everyone, I've gotten so many crew members to join that now. I've got Heather and Michelle both coming, so we're slowly building up cycle bar. Where is your favorite place to travel?
Oh, well, my favorite place, because my family and I would go every Thanksgiving to Belize, but that's been on hold. Just because of the whole COVID thing. So now, as of this summer, we went to Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Okay,
and
also
Idaho.
a nice
So now it's shifted to the west in North America.
Wow.
So I guess you go fishing every time you go to Belize.
Oh,
then,
yeah,
don't
that's
you?
part of the program,
I
as
would
you
assume
know.
so, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. I
That's
have
cool. We went there
anglers
for
in
our
my
honeymoon.
family, so.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what is your favorite business-related book?
My favorite business, I've read a lot of different ones, but one that sticks out to me is a book that was written by the guy that started Cliff Bar.
Okay.
And it's called Raising the Bar. I won't give it all away. It's been a while, but it is a good business book when you're talking about a small business that started in this guy's garage and how it evolved, and how many times he tried to, people tried to buy him out and reduce the contents of the ingredients. So you've got this healthy piece, which I'm very passionate about, health and wellness, and then the business piece. So I highly recommend it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Do you have a favorite Cliff Bar?
The chocolate, always chocolate chips, and that one.
I like it's like dark chocolate peanut butter banana.
Yeah,
it's
the
like
peanut
a lot
butter
of
too.
things.
That's a lot, yeah.
All together, it's delicious.
I'm strictly peanut butter, but it's so good.
Current TV show that you're binging?
Okay, well, I've been waiting patiently for Yellowstone to start.
I just started watching it this last week.
Oh my goodness, I binged through that. Yeah, I actually had to surf hard because my family started it before I did, and I needed to get my mind wrapped around going out west. And so I found a free thing for a week kind of thing, and just binged the heck out of it till I got to the very end. Now I can't wait for it to
I love
start.
doing
So
that.
I think it's November
Oh
coming up
man,
in
that's a
November.
little bit of
Is
time.
it
Yeah.
season 4 or 5?
Uh-huh, 4.
Season 4. Okay.
Yeah.
We're watching it like one episode a week with friends, so it'll be 15 years before I
That's really
finish.
slow.
It is really slow, but we gotta trust the process
Yeah,
when you're watching
that's
with
right.
friends. So
It's all part of the experience.
I know. I do want to ask, do you have a favorite podcast? You mentioned that you like listening to podcasts.
Yeah, I have a few of them. But one that if we're going to keep this business related, so Bonitz is an ESOP, which is employee owned, and we follow the great game of business. So that they have a great podcast that talks about that type of style of management. It's just pretty much open book. And the concept behind that is that everybody's an owner in the business. And, if everybody thinks like an owner, then obviously the succession of success that comes with that. So it's real interesting. They have great speakers. They'll even have topics on humility and things that are important in the workplace, in working with teams and relationships, on up to a lot of other difficult subjects. So anyway, I enjoyed that one.
Nice. What is it called
Jack
again?
Stack. Great Game of Business.
Great Game of Business.
GGOB.
So I got a question about ESOPs. This is totally tangent, but how does it work with ownership? Like, can you buy more to have more
No,
shares?
it's based on
or-
the success and profitability of the company.
Okay, so
Yeah.
everyone's equal, I guess,
Yeah.
in terms of ownership.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is based on compensation and the percentages of
Okay.
that get
Yeah.
contributed every year.
Okay.
It's kind of based on, like, obviously more. I audit a couple ESOPs, so
Okay.
it's based on like how much profit there is, how much is going to get contributed, like, and you get it allocated based on
Your
usually
salary.
on your salary. Yeah.
Okay.
There's
Interesting.
all sorts of formulas. We're the accountant, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Mareena
thankfully
comes in.
there's other people that do more of the specialty stuff. I'm like on the
Yeah.
lower level, but yeah, you'd have a giant
it's an
spreadsheet.
awesome.
Yeah, it sounds
It's
like
a
it.
huge draw. And I'll say this, because our industry has been hit over the years, construction and people coming in and out, even in architecture and the hands-on labor pool. And at Bonitz, we have such tenure that we have skilled people that work for the company, on their hands and knees, that we haven't lost, that they're still working, and primarily because of that ESOP.
Interesting.
So
it's a
we haven't
recruitment
lost
tool as well.
people through over the years as the industry has gone up and down. So
I really
it's
like
been a
that
huge
there's-
benefit.
Very focused on making sure everyone feels like an owner.
Mhm.
Because I think you can have an ESOP and have people just being like, that's kind of like my 401k, you know? But this is seems very intentional,
Yes,
which I like.
yes. And we teach. We have training sessions on how we make money so everybody understands. And we have like little mini games to because someone can come up with a new process, we give them a challenge. It could be anybody is eligible to submit an idea that shows savings, and it actually could change a particular process. That's
cool.
just one way.
I really like that.
Yeah, I do too. All right, last question.
Most important question.
Most important question, without a doubt. What is your favorite restaurant in Greenville, and what do you like to get there?
Oh my goodness. Well, routinely I love going back to Urban Run
Yes.
over and over again. I feel like I'm someplace else, when I go there. And you can sit in different parts of that restaurant. They've got this great little fireplace in the back, and sometimes I'll just go there with my husband and sit at the bar. Like, the bar is so deep, and we'll actually just have dinner and have a great glass of wine. And the owner's fantastic. We've gotten to know, actually, we did the construction. We were the subcontractor on that project, and did a lot of the work. So maybe I'm a little partial because of that.
A little partial.
Yeah,
But
the food is really, really good.
yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have do they change the dish all the time? Is that why? Or do you have like a specific
all the time
thing you
they
love?
do add new things.
Okay.
for
So do you have
sure.
something that you would always recommend getting?
Well, I do like this paper bag. It's called the paper bag salad.
Mm-hmm.
And what's so neat is they do this origami looking paper bag bowl. It's a bowl, but it's made out of a paper bag, and it's just this Asian mixture of all kinds of flavors that you can experience that are out of this world.
Have you been there?
I've been one time, and I think I just got charcuterie when I was there.
Oh, we need to go back.
Yeah, let's go back.
No, you
Yeah.
gotta try it over and over. If you have a special night and you're celebrating and you get a bottle of wine, they give you a pen and you can write down your anniversary date or whatever, and they put it on the wall. So all those wine bottles on the back wall are
Oh my goodness.
from
That's
special
cool.
occasions.
Let's just go and just get a wine bottle and just call it. It'll be a special occasion that then we'll mark every
We'll just
year.
make something up. It'll
Yeah,
be great.
I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Well, awesome. Well, Tanya, thank you so much for talking with us today. It's been really exciting just to, like, hear more of your background and your career with Bonitz and where you're going. So
Well, thank you so much. You guys are fun to spend time with.
Oh,
So.
thank you for saying that. We really enjoyed having you on.
yep. All right. Thanks again.
Thanks again.